The little girl's voice trembled as she stood at the dusty garage door, clutching a worn school bag against her chest. "Sir," she whispered, almost swallowed by the sound of hammers and grinding metal. "My sister's leg. Her prosthetic leg broke. She can't walk to school anymore. Will you fix it for her?" The mechanic froze mid-swing, the heavy spanner in his hand suddenly weightless. He turned slowly, his oil-stained face softening at the sight of her wide, pleading eyes. In that fragile moment, when the world of machinery collided with the raw honesty of a child's pain, something inside him shifted forever. Life had never been easy for Amara and her younger sister Lena. Their father had disappeared years ago, leaving nothing but unanswered questions, and their mother worked day and night scrubbing floors in wealthy people's homes just to keep food on the table. School was the only place where Lena, bright, cheerful, always smiling despite her limp, could feel like she belonged. But fate hadn't been kind. An accident when she was 5 had taken her leg, and though she now had a prosthetic, it was old, cracked, and fragile. That morning, just as they were about to leave for school, the unthinkable happened. The prosthetic snapped at the knee joint. Lena collapsed on the floor, tears streaming down her face as she clutched the useless limb. "Don't cry," Amara whispered, holding her sister tightly. "We'll find someone who can fix it. I promise." Amara had no money, not even enough to buy bread. But she had courage, the kind that grows only in children forced to carry burdens far beyond their years. She remembered the mechanic's garage near the main road, a place filled with sparks and tools. She didn't know if he could repair something as delicate as a prosthetic leg, but she had no choice. So there she was, standing at the threshold of the noisy garage, voice quivering as she asked for a miracle. The mechanic, Rehan, wasn't known for being gentle. Life had hardened him, stripped him of trust, and made him believe that kindness was a luxury he couldn't afford. Yet, when he saw the determination in Amara's eyes, something unexplainable stirred within him. "Bring it here," he said finally, setting aside his work. Amara hurried back home, carried the broken prosthetic in her tiny hands, and returned. Rehan took it, studied it, and sighed. "This isn't a car engine, girl. It's delicate, complicated. But you fix broken things," she whispered, tears threatening. "And if my sister can't walk to school, she'll never smile again." Rehan didn't know why her words pierced so deeply. Perhaps because he, too, once had a little sister whose laughter had been silenced by poverty and sickness, a memory he buried long ago. With a heavy heart, he decided to try. Hours stretched into the evening as he carefully worked, improvising with the tools he had. Sparks flew, sweat trickled down his brow, and Amara watched with hope burning in her chest. When at last he tightened the final screw, he lifted the prosthetic and set it down with a deep breath. "It's not perfect," he said, his voice rough, "but it will hold." The next morning, Lena took her first steps again. Wobbly at first, then steadier. She looked up at Amara and smiled, the light returning to her eyes. Rehan stood in the doorway, pretending not to care, but deep inside, something had changed. For the first time in years, he felt human. Word of Rehan's repair spread quietly through the neighborhood. Some people laughed. What business did a mechanic have fixing a prosthetic leg? But to Lena and Amara, he was nothing less than a hero. Days turned into weeks, and every morning, Lena passed the garage on her way to school. She would wave, her little hand raised high, and Rehan would grunt in reply. Though secretly, those waves warmed a place in his heart he thought had long gone cold. But kindness has a way of circling back, often when it's needed most. One evening, disaster struck. Rehan's small garage caught fire from a faulty wire. Flames devoured the walls, tools clattered in the chaos, and years of hard work threatened to turn into ashes. Neighbors stood helpless, too afraid to step close. And then, through the smoke, he heard a familiar voice. "Sir, this way." It was Amara, tugging at his arm, guiding him through the choking heat. Beside her, Lena stood with a bucket of water, helping neighbors fight the flames. They were just children, yet they risked everything to save the man who once thought compassion was useless. By the time the fire was tamed, the garage was damaged but not destroyed. Rehan sat on the ground, coughing, staring at the two sisters who had refused to leave him. Why would you help me?" he rasped. Amara looked at him with the same steady eyes she had the day she begged for Lena's prosthetic to be fixed. "Because you helped us when no one else would. You gave my sister her steps back. Now it's our turn. Tears, real, unashamed tears, welled in Rayhan's eyes. For years, he had lived in bitterness, believing the world had nothing left to offer him. But in the smallest, bravest acts of two little girls, he rediscovered humanity. From that day on, the garage wasn't just a place for machines. It became a safe corner for children who needed their bicycles fixed, for neighbors with broken tools, for anyone too poor to pay. Rayhan never asked for money when he saw need, because he had learned that sometimes the smallest repairs could rebuild entire lives. And for Lena and Amara, the garage became a place of laughter and warmth, where kindness had not only fixed a leg but had also mended a man's soul. Moral of the story: true kindness is never wasted. It repairs more than what is broken. It heals hearts, builds hope, and comes back when you least expect it.